Oh, I need to see if do I have Amazon on here.
What a strange way to open a show, Chris. Hi, my name's Shawn. That's my friend Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek, doing his Amazon shopping on his tablet. Welcome to Avatar: The Last Podcasters. We are back in episode review mode. Last week we reviewed Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Netflix live-action series, live as of was that February 2022? 2022. Holy smokes! February or March? It's February, right?
February.
February. It's May, and we're reviewing episode by episode. I finally footed over the $7 to get Netflix with ads for 1 month, and I told Heather,
You were not paying any more because you watched all of this. But
but
I was
I
like, dang, Sean, you got that quickly.
don't interpret this. I don't have anything against Netflix. I have everything against all streaming services because I hate them, and that's it. I have. Let me see. Within eyesight, I have the DVDs. I have the Blu-rays, but within eyesight of me right now, I count 3 DVD players, and I will continue to use those until my DVDs rot. But not in this case. These will never come out on DVD, which is heartbreaking. I'd watch them twice and then never again, I guess. But anyway, welcome back. This week we're going to review episode 2, which is called Warriors. And Chris, anything to share that you've been doing in the last 15 seconds in between this episode and last? What are you doing this week? What figures are you
Uh,
working on?
man, I haven't worked on figures in a while. Like that hobby. It's not that the hobby's dead to me. Sometimes I just go through ebbs and flows of that
Oh,
hobby,
yeah, that's fine.
and right now that hobby is just like on the back burner. I just continuously try to practice drawing. You really don't. I kind of miss drawing. Like, there was a point in my life where I drew like a lot, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm falling back in love with just drawing stuff. Not great drawings, but getting used to and stuff familiar with this. Although, this recording, this will debut on my birthday.
Yeah.
Uh, and I'll probably take off that Friday before and go out for probably go to Cracker Barrel, get some pancakes, uh, and just enjoy a day off. Do nothing on my birthday.
Happy early birthday, or not. If you don't want to have a happy birthday, you do your thing. And everybody wish Chris whatever kind of birthday he wants to have down in the comments below.
At least a decent one.
I feel like, yeah, decent or better. Are you going to go see a movie at all? I feel like you usually take it off, and I feel like
That's not
theaters
good.
are slim pickings, right? Nothing's jumping out at me personally right now.
I heard the new Planet of the Apes movie is actually good,
Okay.
and I'm kind of just aching to go to the movies, and so even though I have like zero appetite to actually see that movie, maybe I'll go see it.
That's not my genre of movie, but I call the reviews. The commentary I've seen on the social media has been by and large good. And I got to be honest, I can't think of any other movies in theaters right now that speak to me at all.
Yeah.
Have you seen Monkey Man yet? That's one I keep meaning to get to somehow or other, and I haven't yet.
I have not, but whenever I rent it, it'll be on something. If I had to guess, probably on Amazon. I don't know why I'm guessing it'll be on Amazon. I think it'll be on Amazon. But if it's on like a HBO or something, I'll let you know. On Matt's, I mean.
I am typically a fan of Peel movies. I liked Nope was weird, but I dug it. Get Out was great.
I didn't like it.
Nope was weird.
Uh, it was like there was an underlining thing of like don't trust nature and stuff, like with the monkey and stuff. I was
No,
just
it's
like,
like don't put animals
don't
beneath
underestimate.
yourself. Don't
Okay,
subordinate
yeah,
animals. I don't know. That's what I took from it. Like the eye contact
Mm.
thing, right? Like not making
that
the
was
eye.
a great freaking shot.
I
That are you talking about
know.
the?
Well, all of
Yeah,
it across the board, like the eye contact is like a recurring thing. So like the monkey and the alien thing itself. I didn't care for the
yeah.
look of the alien. Actually, that was probably my bait. Anyway, Nope is weird, but it's very original. I think that's
Mm.
the bare minimum
That's
compliment
true.
you can get. It's very unique. And then Get Out is great, and I can't remember the
It's
what
Us.
Us. Yeah,
Us.
I liked it
Yeah.
slightly less, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, I continuously like his movies. His training down, like Get Out, is a freaking
Get
amazing movie.
Out
It's probably my favorite. Like
and Get Out is
it's
gut wrenching.
yeah, and it works on so many levels. If you wanted to work on just a level of being a horror movie,
Mm-hmm.
it works.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to work on a level of like, look at the freaking layers of this movie, it also works. Man, I should watch that movie again.
It should. I haven't seen it almost since pretty close to when it came out. When I was still using like dirty Putlocker streams online, and it's a great movie. Get Out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Nope.
then
Nope is weird.
Us was like Lupita Nyong'o did a great job in that movie, playing both roles.
I
Like
remember
she,
it the least, just because I didn't like it quite as much as Get Out, but it's not as recent
yeah,
as
yeah.
Nope. So I remember it the least. I need to.
Uh, well, it was like it was also weird in the sense that there was like an a civilization that mirrored the civilization up above. Like it'll be the same person, but like they were coming up to take over like their counterparts
Mhm.
and stuff. And Lupita Nyong'o played both. Of course, they play both. But the twist is that her when she was a little girl, the the true one accidentally was taken to underground, and the the underground one they switched
Mhm.
essentially, and so she grew up just as one of them, and so anyway, and so like the real
Nature
one was
versus
vindictive.
nurture, social commentary.
Yeah.
And then I expect Monkey Man to be not the total opposite of Nope, but like it just looks like tropey
Although
action, but
and
in a good
yeah,
way.
although this speaking of Avatar, Dave Patel,
Yeah, it's a fun
Zuko actor,
tie-in. Yeah,
um,
the
he's
the
I think
the lone
he's
redeeming
directing
quality
this.
of
I
the.
think he's yeah, Peel's producing it, but I think this is Dev Patel's directorial debut.
I just saw both their names together. I gotta honestly say I didn't
Yeah,
investigate which role was which, but I believe you.
but I've only heard good things about it.
Yeah,
Like,
and the Rotten Tomato score is good. So and I like tropey action movies. I'll probably
yeah,
really enjoy it. So we'll see. I'll watch it at some point. Well, Chris, I hope you have a happy birthday. And that being said, let's start reviewing an episode. Let's review episode 2, The Warriors, not The Warriors, Warriors. The spoiler alert. I feel like we have to issue a spoiler alert. We're close enough that we're not just trying to ruin it for people, but we're going to talk about everything in whatever level of detail we feel like. And that's going to happen after Chris gives us a light summary of the episode.
yeah. This one should be a lot lighter than the other one.
I
But
think so.
honestly, one thing honestly, so I watched this about 4 times, and I was a bit of a time crunch. I watched just a little bit of scenes here and there of this one, but I was kind of skimmed through it just to jog my memory. But anyway, so
This one's only like
light,
45 minutes too, or whatever. It's
sure, yeah.
substantially shorter.
So it opens up with Zuko angry, furious on the ship. One thing, Dallas Liu plays Zuko. I think he does a really great job. Like his Zuko feels different than the original Zuko, but still very genuinely Zuko.
I think he does one of the better, even if you don't like the interpretation of Zuko, whether you do or not, I think he does one of the better acting jobs
oh
of
yeah,
the main roles for sure.
yeah,
Maybe my
yeah,
favorite. Maybe. Let me think about
yeah.
it.
And he's also probably the most experienced one of them. But he's angry and furious. And Shawn, I know you're not online and stuff and on Twitter, but this scene has become iconic when he goes like he's like furious and stuff, and then Iroh's like, you know, it was because he's looking for his notebook that Aang took. Because the notebook has information about past avatars and information and stuff, but Aang took it so it will help him on his journey. And Zuko's furious looking for his notebook, and then Iroh's like, this isn't the avatar that you thought you'd be facing. And Zuko's like, he turns, wait, let me, like, Zuko's furious and stuff. And like, he's like, ah! And then he's like, he ran. Like, and it's freaking iconic at this point. Cause like, if at first you kind of laugh at it, but like, it is just kind of taking on a life of itself. It's just sort of like snarky, a bit snazzy Zuko. Just he ran.
I
I think it's great.
his voice jitters a little bit, but it feels so. I
Yeah,
feel silly now. I didn't laugh at all. I just oh, he sounds legitimately exasperated. Like good job.
it's just on Avatar Twitter. It's
His
taken on a life of its. Like it has become like the Netflix Twitter thing for under the description for like a day was just he ran.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Uh,
That's fantastic. No, it's great acting, and clearly, listen, he made you feel feelings. That's what matters.
yeah. Anyway, he's mad stuff. Oh, I do kind of. Thing was so short. But it's just interesting that like Zuko has this idea of what the Avatar was, like his ultimate warrior, honorable type of deal, which implies things further down the line.
Mhm.
Anyway, on to the B side of the story that eventually A and B will meet. Um, we talked in the previous episode about how the last 15 minutes or so when they go to Southern Air Temple, I feel like it belonged in this episode because like they have the burial and everything for Gyatso. I felt like these two things should have been together. I understand you want to end that first episode, big, huge action sequence, but it just narratively fit with the first.
Agreed completely. Does it make a difference to us at all? I think it does to me that because Netflix shows a new release, like you binge it, and I binged it, right, so it flows together. So I didn't think about it until you brought it up. So you're absolutely right, and I agree. But I think
Yeah,
aside from rating
just
episodes independently, it doesn't bug me a ton.
yeah, it's a nitpick.
It's a
I
nitpick,
think.
not quite a qualm.
Yeah, not cool.
I
A
certainly don't
nitpick.
take an umbrage with it.
Well, you just skipped over issues, so yeah.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Huh. Okay. So they they're like, all right, hey, let's get out of here. Sokka is still a little apprehensive at this point, and but Katara's like, hey, we need to help Aang and help him save the world. And Sokka's like, save the world? Like, we're just two people from the Water Tribe. Like, how can we save the world? Which I do like this line because it pays off in a later episode down the line when she fights Master Paku. And like, because Sokka right now doesn't have that desire or even that confidence that they could do something. Like, it's Katara that instills that confidence in him. Like, yeah, like Sokka, we could save the world. Because prepping for that fight, he gives her a little speech. He's like, Katara, before this, like, I didn't think that two Water Tribe kids could do anything, and now we can, save the world. He has that little
It's a
pep talk
great
with
moment
her,
in his little kick his ass pep talk later. It's
yeah,
touching.
which I do have. I have qualms with cursing in Avatar.
So it doesn't bother you that somebody gets cooked in flames, but he's not allowed to say the word shit.
Because no, because it just doesn't fit. No, I'm not like clutching my pearls at cursing because it does. I don't. I listen to clutching pearls will be like between qualms and issues. Um,
I think clutching
no,
your
it's
pearls,
not. It's not like
that's
I.
above issues. That's below
Is it
exception, above
okay?
issues. You're clutching your pearls. That's big.
It's not like I listen to plenty of rap music. I don't care about cursing and things. It's just the world of Avatar felt like cursing didn't like they had their own curse words. Like Toph would be like, "You dunderheads bet not forget." Like I'm Toph Bayfong. I'm the greatest earthbender. Like they were more unique, creative with their like. Aang would be like, "Ah, monkey feathers." Like, like Aang didn't say, "Ah, shit." He'd be like, "Ah, monkey feathers." But that's my only, you know. That's a little qualm. It
That's
might be a slight anyway,
you.
but
You can have it qualm. I'll put it in nitpick territory for me, but it's allowed to be different territories for each. That's fair.
I just paused on the weird screen cap of Ian Owsley as Sokka. Like it's just a weird.
I think that's that.
Oh yeah,
Just when you're talking about like cursing's out of place, and then you pull up a screen capture that looks like Sokka's doing something inappropriate just below camera.
well, I didn't take that. Your mind is somewhere else in this last today.
Listen, I think it's fair to wonder how Avatar or how Airbenders repopulate. It's a different
Okay.
thing for them.
Where the heck, bro? Anyway,
Hey,
Aang is like, we gotta go to Kyoshi Island. Wait, were you about to say something?
I was just about to say it's actually just been a really long week for like work wise and minor panic attacks and stuff. So that's probably manifesting itself.
Uh, Aang is like, let's go to Kyoshi Island because Kyoshi might be something there. She could master the Avatar state. So they go there and they get jumped by the Kyoshi warriors. And then they're like, Aang's like, hey, I'm the Avatar. And then Suki is like, if there was an Avatar, there would be signs. And then Kyoshi's statue freaking glows up. One thing, Maria Zhang, the actress for Suki, she's great as Suki. And I'll just leave it there. to,
The
anyway,
It stuck out to me as first of all, she is great as Suki. I
I also
think
want to say she's 24 in case anyone didn't know. I'm not,
I
you know,
did not
Drake
know.
over
I
here.
did not know
Oh.
that. The girl who leans over and is like, I think that's a sign. That's one of those moments that stood out to me as like, could you have found just a slightly better actress to deliver that line, or like maybe make her do another take or something? It was so
Mm.
weird and awkward.
Yeah, I'm fine with it in the sense of like it. And again, this might go to a mixture of tones. I'm fine with the sense of like this is the show is supposed to like appeal to a wide variety of audience
Yeah,
of like from 7 to 40 year olds.
fair,
40.
reasonable. It was one of those where I like paused it for a second and like just to listen to it one more time. Is that as awkwardly delivered as I thought it was? Yes, the answer
Yeah.
is yes, it was.
One thing I do want to bring up, in there's a little moment between Katara and Sokka before this, where like Katara's trying to get Sokka to go and save. Like she then looks in her bag and she sees the water beating scroll, and it's from Gran Gran, and I absolutely love that. Like Gran Gran writes a little note in there, and Gran Gran essentially is like, Katara, like take back what the world has taken from you. Like this is a representation of that. Like you have been told your life to kind of hide your bending, hide who you are, take that back. Like own who you are, be yourself, be your true self. And really this whole arc for Katara I think start there. And I do a lot of people have issues with Katara's arc or her characterization in the show. I think it's different, but I think there's so much I think there's a lot of great better things about it. And while yeah, I do think it's missing some things, but I love a lot of the new things along with it.
Chris, I'm going to tell you something, and that's that after watching it a second time through, I picked up way more of the stuff that makes me feel much better about Katara's trajectory as like a self-taught master. You
Huh?
your thoughts and wisdoms made me think harder, but not think or well, yeah, and pay better attention to it, and I dig it. So, totally on board with Katara and the fact that I love that Gran Gran was packing this heat away in a trunk for decades. She was holding this back,
Yeah.
and I think this is a perfect time. Gran knew that something big was going down. I think that's fun.
Ooh, yeah, yeah, I like that thought. So Kyoshi Warriors capture Aang. Aang and them talk to the leader. I forget her name, but she's Suki's mom. Um, and there's something about this show that it does. I don't want to say that Aang doesn't really care about it. I mean, it's not as profound and stuff. In the original show, But I think one of the things that could have definitely been better with the original show is showing Aang just as a character, his impact on other people in the world as him Aang, not him the Avatar, but him fun loving 12-year-old innocent Aang who believes in hope and good and stuff in people.
It
And we get a hint of that in this episode.
it is a less charming take on Aang. You don't get as much of just regular kid Aang. Like there again, they tell you he tells you with his literal words, uh, but it's not on display as much.
Yeah. And so I like he gives a little speech to the Kyoshi Warriors stuff. He's like, back in my time, like things were good. Like, and I hope to bring a piece of that to now. So I like that little moment.
Hmm?
Really, don't think like a whole lot happens in this episode until a certain point. But anyway, Sokka is infatuated. It's like I wouldn't say infatuated. In fact, it's a reversal. Suki is infatuated with Sokka.
Yeah, they're awkwardly interested in each other, but Suki seems like less comfortable operating around him, which is
Yeah,
given the
and I'm
circumstances, that's fine.
completely.
Yeah,
Some people are like, "Oh, Suki's boy crazy" and stuff. I'm like, I don't think she's boy crazy. I think she just saw a boy that she liked and stuff. Like to me, boy crazy is like you jump from this boy to this boy to this boy and stuff. Like Sokka's girl crazy.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. No, like we have proof that Sokka is girl crazy. Suki might just like, oh, he's interesting and
yeah,
entertaining.
and I want to get and I want to talk to him some more and stuff. Like she is a a girl.
Hmm?
Um. Anyway.
Agreed. Agreed.
So they have this little back and forth. We do meet Commander Zhao for the first time, and it's funny like how Zhao is. He's a different. He's a much different portrayal than the Zhao on the show. I think I might be leaning to actually liking this version more, but I like them both enough.
Chris, I like this Xiao quite a bit better, and
Ooh, quite a bit better.
I don't know. I think he does a better job of feeling like real human politicky slimier, and I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't been able to put my finger out, but I think I actively enjoy him more as a
It's
character.
funny. There's he has more comedy, and it's like subtle
It's
comedy, but
unintentional, I think, too.
yeah,
Or like the actor intends it. Like Zhao doesn't intend it, but the actor knows that it's
yeah.
like an awkward, funny, or whatever. I don't know. And there's something about the actor's delivery that feels just I don't know. I can't put it. It just hits me right. I really like it.
Yeah, definitely. We do see. I just want to point out that like there's complaints about Aang not being happy. There are some. This episode specifically, I think, goes out of its way to show Aang being like happy and stuff and happy-go-lucky. Like he plays with guitar in the water. He plays with the kids and stuff. I just wanted to point that out. Uh,
And yeah, yeah.
Kyo-
They like
Kyoshi
running
Island.
around with other children.
Yeah. So then there's the whole training thing between Sokka and Kyoshi and Suki, which is cool. I like seeing that.
Yeah, awkward in
And
the
then
way
Aang,
that it's trying to be.
yeah. And then Aang talks to Kyoshi for the first time, and Kyoshi's pretty much like, "Listen, you gotta be a warrior if you want to be the Avatar. Like that's what it takes." It's interesting. I had this thought today. One of these days, I'm gonna do just an episode about like what we love about the concept of the Avatar. Because today I was thinking about like, man, all the avatars are like so like sure they're the same person, but they're so different and and like and they're so different in their approach and their attitudes. Like for Kyoshi, she mostly did need to be a warrior. Like we read in the books, like she's a lot about fighting. Like she solves her issues most of the time through punches and through bending and every now and then killing someone. Uh,
And casually.
while Yang Chen had to manipulate people, like most, like she did have to, like all of them have to fight, and all of them have to be like somewhat intelligible. But like they have different ratings on these things, and they utilize them differently. Yang Chen mostly used her manipulation skills to get what she wanted.
I have
Roku did nothing.
I have a feeling that this show is going to have a maybe not like a wildly different take on Roku, and not necessarily better, but I have a feeling it's going to give us like more of a Roku story. Chris,
Uh,
I have in my notes here at least 3 times, like across the 8 episodes, that I very much appreciate all the avatars just giving Aang their own take on this disparate advice. Like I love that we're not speaking to Rava, we're speaking to the spirit of the avatar, like the representation of the person, and it's very unique. I think that's really cool. That's not unique to the show specifically, but I think it comes
yeah,
through more in this series.
definitely. Especially comparing season 1 to season 1. Like Aang spoke to all his past lives. This like the fourth to last episode of the whole series, and they all kind of had like very similar advice. Except, for, well, I wouldn't say that because I feel like Yang Chen and Kyoshi was pretty clear on their advice. While Kurik and Roku was like, "Hey, you must be, uh, you must be." I forget what Roku's advice was, but pretty much like you got to do something.
Yeah.
Deliberate, I think, was his advice. While Kyoshi's and Yang Chen's advice was like, "Listen, you have to kill him." But they weren't bringing it down like, oh, this is how I would do this. Like, this is what it means to be the Avatar. And then one person, like, this is what means to be the Avatar. While here, it feels like Kyoshi, like, it means to be a warrior. And Kuruk is like, it means to do this alone. And then Roku is like, I don't know. It mean, I forget what Roku's like, advice kind of was. But they all have different interpretations of what it means to be the Avatar and how best to be the Avatar.
That to me is good adaptation. I don't know a better phrase. I keep saying added value. That's not a good way to describe it, but that's like
I think it's a.
added value.
I think it adds value for being an adaptation. Like it adds
It
something.
gives you a
Yeah, I think.
reason to specifically watch
Yeah.
to watch this. Yeah. So
Besides it just being a different medium.
exactly. And that's
Yeah.
the portrayal of the different avatars absolutely across the whole first season qualifies
Yeah.
as good take.
Mm-hmm. All right. Then the foundation text, Kyoshi Island. Uh, Zuko is about to like attack Katara for our user talk. People out. No, I'm kidding.
And then later the kids,
Um,
spoiler alert. No, just don't hold your
um,
breath.
and then Kyoshi's like, listen, you want to know what the power of the Avatar feels like? Here it is. I do like how there is a physical, how she did a physical move to almost put some of her essence straight into Aang. Of like, I'm taking you over now.
Hmm?
In that moment, freaking great. She takes over. She wipes them all out essentially, and then Zhao has to backtrack and
Great
and run
fight
away.
scene. Awesome. It's not a very long fight scene, but great fight scene.
Yeah.
Chris, I've said it before. I stand by it. Maybe even more so. Watching it through the second time, there's just the finiteness of the wording, right? The literal wording that at the end of the episode, Aang's like, "Yeah, Kyoshi told me because I was close to a shrine is the only time I could do that." I hate that,
Yeah.
right? I hate that. Why can't he just? He could be in a shrine and just meditating and like having a close experience with Kyoshi, and I'd be 1,000% fine with it. But like, nope, just because I'm by a shrine, this thing that didn't exist while she was alive, that has some of her belongings in, that pisses me off. And I do hate that. I take exception with that. I hate how easy it would have been to fix. I do take exception. And then to a lesser degree, I don't love that it's also like a literal physical manifestation of Kyoshi. I don't know what I would do instead, but it feels like
Ooh, interesting.
cheating. I don't know, like a spirity, something that looked more ethereal or something, I guess.
Oh, like Roku looked in the. Okay, I get what you're saying. Like Roku looked in the temple when he took over Aang's body. Like he wasn't
He wasn't
Like he was
physically
like
like,
he felt like almost an aura over Aang,
and I
rather
think
than like, oh, like that's like literally Kyoshi's body.
I'm gonna say that's qualm. It's above nitpick, but it's not an issue. It's just that it feels weird to have like the physical, actual presence because it's a spirit. It's not actual. So, but I'll put that in qualm territory.
Okay.
And both of those things, unfortunately, just come to a head here. But I don't want that to ruin the idea that on screen, Kyoshi looks great and it's
Hmm.
fun to watch her beat people's ass. I don't want my other feelings to mitigate that.
Cool. Episode kind of ends with Suki's mom being like, "Thank you, Avatar. Like you brought hope back to us and stuff." And then now Sokka's like fully on board with the whole saving the world thing, and then it closes on Fire Lord Ozai being like, "Oh, the Avatar has returned," type of deal.
Awesome.
And that is episode 2, Warriors. I'm a warrior.
Chris, you started last time, so I'll go first this time. On the audio visual, I went 7.5. There, overall, there's less like big, awesome scenery in this episode than the first one. There's like less things that make me literally want to like pause and just stare at the screen for a minute. But it is really, again, the fight scene with Kyoshi looks great. The Fire Nation ships look awesome and stuff. But there's just a hair less. So 7.5. I don't know where else I'm going with that.
7.5. Huh. We're so different. Audio visual, I gave it a 9, and because Kyoshi carried it. Like when that moment happened, it's a holy crap moment. It's like, holy crap, this is amazing. This looks so freaking cool. It's that's what carried it for me. I know it's high, and that's kind of high early. I was flirting with 8.5, but
Follow
went
your
with the
gut,
9.
man. Don't question yourself. Follow your gut. Can we? I think we do both agree on the fact that the spirit world itself, like the one-on-one scenes of the Avatar, those all look terrible. It looks awful when he's talking to Kyoshi in this ethereal.
I'm the spirit world in of itself isn't
We'll
that interesting.
we'll get to that at a
Um,
later episode. The spirit
yeah,
world separately. Just
yeah.
focusing on this scene here where he's just like in a heavenly-ish kind of place talking to Kyoshi.
I was fine with it. There's one scene where there's a meme out there of Kyoshi being like, "Need to kill this mother effer," and then Aang looking like, like looking up like a child, like it's. I like that difference between their heights and stuff.
I don't like the background choice or design there. It feels really, I don't know. It feels like I'm watching a college film class production.
Oh,
But that's a
yeah.
really that's a nitpick. That's a very minor part of the episode. It's like a minute, maybe not even in totality. Chris, what about the story? Tell me your feelings there.
So story, I gave it a 7.5. The thing is that even the original Warriors of Kyoshi, like this episode, it's not that consequential. It's consequential in the point that it like is world building,
Hmm?
but and it's the same with this episode. So I gave it a 7.5. I can't think of any like terrible exposition or anything in it, or even writing. But so yeah, so 7.5.
I went harsher, and I wanted you to note that the harshness is almost specifically because of the big lore piece that I dislike, and I think that's going to
Yeah, that's right.
define our different
Yeah,
feelings. So I gave it a
yeah.
6, and I got to reiterate that to me isn't bad. That 6 is fine, and I have no issues with most of it. It just that's a pretty big lore piece that I don't think is told or done very well, and it just is so easy to make it way better or to make it make way more sense, and it feels like a miss. Overall, there's not much else about this episode that I do or don't like. You get introduced to Zhao and Suki, and that's really all that comes from it.
Mm, yeah.
And then last but not least, we've got memorability. I went 7.5. I do like meeting Zhao and Suki, and the Kyoshi fight is memorable, but there's not a ton else in this episode. There's a lot of kind of one-on-one interactions.
Yeah. I were high because this is probably one of my favorite moments of the show. And this was when watching this with you, this was the moment I was like, oh, we should have reacted to this episode because of Kyoshi. I think it's like when I think about like anytime sometimes I watch YouTube reactor videos and there are certain moments of Avatar that are like, oh, I can't wait till they get to this episode. And so like it's the same uh with Avatar Day when Kyoshi is like, I killed Chin the Conqueror. Like that's a memorable moment
Yeah.
for me.
Oh, that's
And so
great.
yeah, I feel like I watched that recently. Um so I gave this a 9.5 on memorability. Like seeing Kyoshi, I've never seen Kyoshi do that before, and I love Kyoshi. Never like we see her beating Chin the Conqueror. While it's cool, it's almost effortlessly. Like it's just like, but like seeing her in like a full fight, just bending the elements all around water, then fire, then like small things of earth. Like she's grabbing firebenders with like a water thing and stuff. Like
It's
great. So give it 9.5.
it and or the cold open, and no, not it. The as a scene to watch to the eyeballs, it is the coolest scene to happen thus far. Chris, we should have reacted to it because
Yeah.
we would have had we both would have had big reactions, but not like 1-to-1, right? Like we wouldn't have been 100. So it would have been a fun reaction video, I think. But
Yeah.
anyway, Chris, that brought your average to an 8.4. Mine was a 6.9. That averages out to a 7.7, which is kind of
That's why you have two different points of view.
yeah. Which honestly, in the animated series, we align way more often than not. So I just imagine we'll be more disparate here. But so far, we've been
Yeah.
parallel. Like our relative high scores and relative low scores have
Yeah.
meshed to some degree.
What are the episodes? Oh, the beach is one we
The-
highly disagree
The
about.
beach and the storm, which are just the I don't even know what to call that kind of episode. It's just not a kind of episode that I ever really tend to appreciate very much. But I own that. What would you call that episode? It's the bottle episode of an animated series, whatever that is.
Because it costs just the same.
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference.
I don't know, I mean, it's the beach is like the Breakfast Club, which it actually is. In fact, the Breakfast Club is actually the bottle the Breakfast Club. If any movie is like a bottle episode, it's the Breakfast Club. It's like, all right, we're gonna film 95% of this movie in this one room, and
That tracks so well too. I don't love the bottle episode of Community, which we've had that discussion before. I don't love
you
the
don't love
breakfast.
have we had
Yeah, we have.
you don't love
Because
the
you were
bottle
very
episode
surprised.
of Community?
You were very surprised that I did not like it.
That is also one of my favorite episodes.
Ooh, that's of the first 4 seasons or the first 3 seasons. It's on my lower end, I think. But
Oh my gosh!
not of the
I love
last.
I love
3 or
at
4
the end.
seasons.
I love at the end where the dean walks by and he sees the study room. He's
All
like,
standing behind the tables in their underwear. Yeah.
yeah. Well, he's like, but they're walking out at this point. Like, what happened? And Abed is like, something something you and your puppy's unmiraculous ass could never imagine.
You unmiraculous son of a bitch.
Yeah, you miraculous. And the dean is like, Abed, unmiraculous. Wait. But,
That's such a good line. Listen,
you unmiraculous son of a bitch.
it's not very high on my favorite episode. I do like the part
Oh.
where I don't even remember who says it, but they have to jump up and down to shake things loose.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, that all checks.
Just
I don't love the Breakfast Club as a movie either. It's just not my whatever that type of narrative is. Just isn't something that appeals to me. But Anyway, Chris, two things we're gonna do. First, we're gonna do. Do you want to do your favorite parts of the episode first, or do you want to do your like adaptation thumbs up, thumbs down first?
Sure, let's do favorite part
Favorite part
first.
first. You go first.
Kyoshi. It's simple.
This episode's really easy. I can have the qualms with the lore and still love what I'm seeing on screen. Kyoshi part. But
Yeah.
small side note, I really like seeing the Fire Nation ships sailing up to a
Oh,
forested island. Like, there's just a couple of good visual things in there. But Kyoshi, for sure.
oh, and then he ran is much lower than Kyoshi, but I do love the he ran part.
Yeah. And I'll give my adaptation feelings. I gave this one average again. And again, it's
Okay.
weighted down by my feelings of like, all right, you made a change, but I don't think you did it, like you didn't implement it as effectively as you could. Otherwise, I'd be in good territory with this. It's a big change that I feel like wasn't implemented properly. So I stuck with average.
I am going with better. I think because I I didn't feel like they needed to change that aspect of the avatar of like, oh, you have to go to the temple to communicate with them. I think they're doing a lot of, and I've explained this before. I think they're doing a lot of like, oh, we gotta fill these plot holes that no one complained about in the original series. We gotta fill them somehow, and so they're like, all right, you gotta be in a temple to talk to a past life, because it is a little inconsistent
Yeah.
in Avatar. You could have just did without it, but so I'm like, whatever. I get why you did it and stuff. Whatever. I'm average on that specific thing. But the stuff that I'm like, oh, that's freaking great, is amazing, is is the Kyoshi. Kyoshi. This episode could just call Kyoshi, and I would have been.
Yeah.
Well, like she carried so much of it. Like that was something different and new. That was like, oh, okay, they're doing something different and stuff, and that's really cool. Um, One thing we haven't talked about, Shawn, which a lot of people have issues with this episode, is the lack of sexism in Sokka. And
I just don't care
I'll
that
say,
much.
I'll say, I get that we like characters to be flawed and stuff, but Sokka was honestly this. If people think Sokka's sexism is that big of a thing with his character, then I don't think they really paid attention to, because Sokka is sexist for like up to this point in the show.
It's 3
Like,
episodes,
and
right?
after this, yeah, 3 episodes, and after that, he's not really sexist anymore.
Nope.
But the thing about Sokka is that Sokka has insecurity stuff about him, about what it means to be a man and manhood, and he still has that throughout this show. So the sexism part to me was a fraction of that. While it's important, I was like, all right, it's fine. I can give or take that. So I'm average on the Sokka sexism stuff.
I won't repeat things that I've probably said 30 times in previous episodes. Nobody needs to hear
Yeah.
it again. Just in a general way, I don't like the kind of softening of multiple
Yeah.
characters, and that's a part of it.
Yeah.
I just don't care a
Sure.
whole lot about that one specific piece. I care way
Yeah.
more about Chris. It's just the finiteness of the rule and the way that Aang spoke it or Kyoshi spoke it, and then the literal physical presence, right? Just those things like, man, you could have brushed it over a little bit and I probably wouldn't have said a thing. But just the like hard and fast rules. That temple has no literal
Like what? Like
pre-existing connection.
you're wondering in your head like, why is Kyoshi connected to the, like, avatars are connected to physical things, and they don't explain how is this person connected physically to this thing. Like statues
Aang's
glow.
staff is like, obviously that would be hint of hint.
Yeah. But like, I get what you're saying. Like, all right, well, this shrine probably didn't exist when she was alive. Like, why is she connected to the shrine?
I wouldn't have noticed it if it hadn't been quite so hard and fast. I would have passed it over as like, yeah, he's on Kyoshi Island. He's in a Kyoshi shrine. He's meditating on Kyoshi, and he's almost like manifesting a visualization in his head. He's got the what do you call it? He's got the notebook. All these things. Yeah. It's almost like he's using his imagination and manifest it. And if they never would have said anything, wouldn't have bothered me at all.
Yeah, well, they needed to put this in. They needed to put this plot device in for another part of the plot for it to make
But I know, but I don't like
more.
that part of the plot either.
Oh, yeah.
I don't. Right? It doesn't.
Um, and the thing is, we gotta remember is that they're writing this also for a new audience
Uh-huh.
who
True.
aren't as accepting of vagueness. And yeah, so
Yeah.
they
Uh.
went out there. Like,
Yeah. Just. Yeah, man. He. Oh yeah, I was meditating on Kyoshi, and look, Zuko's notebook helped, and I had this picture of her in my mind, and then boom, there she was. I crossed over. I don't know.
one of these days, I think after we do all the reviews, we'll go like, all right, this is what we will change.
In between seasons, do a little rewriting.
Yeah,
I like that.
because we're pretentious enough to try and rewrite.
I'm
But
not saying that we've
I
earned
like
the right
admitting,
to, but listen,
yeah.
300
when
episodes in
I like
this.
when I'm like, hey, this is how I would write it. Before I do that, I like to put for context, like, I am not a writer, and this is very pretentious of me to rewrite something these people did. I understand that they're way better at writing than me. I will never say that I'm better at writer than them because these are actual professional people who went to college and stuff. But if they just hired me, this is this is what I would change.
I think, Chris, when we're doing those things, we're doing them for ourselves. We're not trying to convince other people this is how it should be. It's like, no,
Sure.
this would have made me feel better personally, or whatever.
Yeah.
But hey, that's 2 episodes in. I think we both do agree in a general way that this episode is better than the first episode. It's a hair tighter, and not a ton happens in it, but at the same time, it does feel like more things are kind of happening all the time. There's a little less talking head in this one, a little bit, right? It's more like following characters and stuff, and I like that. Oh, Chris, I didn't bring this up. I don't mean this to turn a whole diatribe. Just a hot take. I still don't care for Sokka's actor. I don't want to be beaten to. I'm sure he's a delightful person. He's a good choice, but I think he is one of the worst main character actors, and I think this episode it does pop a little bit. Like his some of his joke delivery falls a little flat. His awkwardness feels like acted
I
awkwardness.
I liked his interactions with Suki when he's like doing the boomerang and stuff, and like he has this moment that's I think is almost Ryan Reynolds esque, like just a reaction to it. But I think I probably agree with the general sentiment that he of the main cast
Yeah, of
is
the main
probably the
4 or 5 or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah,
How would I rank? That's a different episode for a different day. How would
that
rank?
will be a fun. It'll feel like a mean episode. So there again, same
It
thing.
was,
Pretentious of me to like tell a professional actor, he's the least good. But uh, contrary to that, why can't we get Daniel? Why can't we get shirtless Daniel Day Kim on screen sooner? That'd sell more of these episodes. What is that? Is that episode
that's episode 6.
6?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to talk about that one. Yeah, listen,
I can already tell you what that record. I won't tell you, but I already know off the top of my head what the score is going to be for that
oh,
episode.
Chris, I've scored all mine out, and yep, agreed.
Oh,
Agreed.
have you?
I scored them all.
Okay.
Yeah. But I
Cool.
can tell you right now, I agree with your score of that episode. That's one where we won't have a ton of disparate
Okay.
ideas. And Daniel Day Kim shirtless, man. I don't know how old he is, but he looks great. He looks great. That's a good fight.
That was a good casting that I
That
did.
was great, Kay. You knocked it
Oh.
out. Did you even know that that's what he looked like? Did you know he looked like Ozai under his
No,
shirt?
I did.
I didn't either.
How does he look shirtless? That's important to me for casting. That thought did not cross my mind at all. Honestly, what crossed my mind was like episode episode 1 of season 3, where you finally see Ozai's face. He says, "Welcome home." Like his cheekbones are just
That's Daniel Day Kim.
just there, yeah. And then like I saw a picture of Daniel Day Kim. I was like, "Holy crap, they got the same freaking cheekbones." And then I looked up Daniel Day Kim's past and stuff. Like, oh, he already worked on Avatar. Like, oh, he would be freaking great.
In my defense, if you took up the total amount of time of screen time from the animated series, the screen time that Ozai is visible on screen in minutes. How many of those minutes is he wearing a shirt? Because of the fight where he's not wearing a
Yeah,
shirt, that is a very long fight.
true. Probably
He might be wearing a
say
shirt
more
less
than
often.
50% of the time.
Therefore, that's an important part of his casting, and whether you knew it or not, you killed it. Good job, buddy.
Yeah.
You knew it. You knew it.
I might
The last podcast.
maybe I made that decision subconscious because I kind of do remember seeing pictures of him shirtless. I think,
And
or maybe I'm just making fake memories now.
I,
But
I mean, it works, and intimidation is part of his whole shtick, right? Like a visible display of "I am superior." That plays.
yeah,
The nose plays. The nose plays. Anyways,
I can't wait for that for him to like have that fight with Aang. Like that scene where it's
yes.
like, if you deliver yourself truly as an act of prominence. One thing, Mark Hamill, freaking
Yeah.
great. But anyway,
I hope that it is a great scene with the appropriate unique distinctions in live action. My name's Shawn. That's my friend Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter fame. And I promise we don't always just talk. I'm not gonna throw Chris under the bus. I promise I don't always just talk about shirtless guys. We talk about other stuff too. Come back next week.
you can throw me under that bus. I don't know.
You know what? There's a lot of shirtless people. Actually, there's a lot of shirtless guys in Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you stop and think for a minute, there's a lot of guys that randomly show up shirtless. And we'll talk about episode 3 next week. It'll be a lot of fun. That one's called Omashu. In the meantime, give us your rating on whatever asinine scale you choose. Tell us your feelings on these brand new episodes. And then leave positive reviews, thumbs up, comments, likes, subs, bells, whatever you want to leave us. We appreciate it all. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Wow, you can actually frame Zuko's character arc about him being shirtless.
You know, you kind of can.
Like in season 3, he's like skinny, and you can see more bone protrusion.